So most people seem to agree right now that Black Frieza is the head of the table when it comes to the mortals of Universe 7, with maybe the exception and the biggest question mark being Gohan Beast, with his full extent power being Frieza's biggest competitor from an individual warrior. However, whilst Frieza is in a quest to become the Emperor or King of the universe, why be a king when you can be a god? Beerus is still the top dog, or should I say top cat, of Universe 7. But the question I keep seeing asked time and time again is, why is Beerus so strong? Why is he so powerful? Why haven't Goku and Vegeta, despite attaining Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue extension forms, aka Super Saiyan Blue Evolution and Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, and then even Ultra forms, including multiple tiers of Ultra forms in Goku's case, Ultra Instinct Sign, Ultra Instinct, and for Vegeta, of course, Ultra Ego. They still are not at Beerus' level, as we found out in chapter 103 of Dragon Ball Super, when Beerus throws the gauntlet down for Goku to become a God of Destruction candidate by saying, if you surpass me, then I'll make you the next God of Destruction candidate, heavily implying that Goku just simply isn't at his level at that current point in time, which is post-superhero arc. Of course, we had the jump scan that stated that even Black Frieza is not at Beerus' level yet. And of course, it led to complaint after complaint after wah after wah after wah of Beerus deniers complaining that Beerus should have been surpassed. He's basically getting ass pulls and basically just a moving goalpost all the time. But as I've tried to put out on my channel, for example, 25 times they warned us that Beerus was this damn powerful. Do check it out, guys. It's definitely a video that I think is worth watching for any power scale in the Dragon Ball community. It's basically 25 instances in the Dragon Ball Super manga as well as promotional material where we were warned that Beerus has just been this powerful all along. It also answers another heavily asked question: is Beerus the strongest God of Destruction? Well, even though it is answered in that video, I'll talk about it again. Beerus is a top tier God of Destruction. The only other God of Destruction we know that rivals him based on feats within the manga and statements within the manga is Kitella. That might be slightly different in the anime, but even so, I think the anime will retcon, if it should ever return, that Beerus will be one of the strongest and it will be Kitella his main rival, not Belmod. If anything, the God of Destruction exhibition match should have been more than enough evidence. He literally started off at a disadvantage, being attacked by all 11 Gods of Destruction at once. His semi-ultra instinct allowed him to dodge and weave all the other Gods of Destructions. He was able to show strength feats, speed feats, without even using destruction. And when he did go to use an energy blast, which was likely destruction, 4 Gods of Destructions literally had to be saved by a shield hacks from Seadra. And despite all this, he was still on the last standing and expected to be the last standing. Anyway, I won't go too much into that because I feel like I've spoken enough about Beerus being the strongest God of Destruction, or one of the strongest Gods of Destructions, and I've also talked about all the times it's been mentioned why Beerus is not a moving goalpost. Now, the only way he could be a moving goalpost if he truly is at Blue Fusion level and he has trained and got stronger since. There's been no indication of that. In fact, his response to the threat of Black Frieza is to sit and do fishing and sleep for 4 months. So unless he gets some sort of boost from sleeping for 4 months, which does sound very Toriyama-esque, then it's unlikely he's got any kind of training boosts. And I'm also going to go into Beerus' rate of growth as well, and why the Saiyans are important to getting an idea on how Beerus grows. But the only other theory you can come up with is if he's gone in Whis' staff and trained, which is a possibility, but there's no pretext, subtext that actually allude to that actually happening. So as of right now, it's a lightweight theory at best. It's not even like that I don't like that theory, it's just got no substantial evidence for it. However, most people don't even subscribe to Blue Fusion theory anymore, which means basically Blue Fusion is at Beerus' level in terms of raw power. Now, I did make a video that if that theory is to be correct, Beerus would still beat them anyway, because he's got a whole host of skills at his disposal in his arsenal that Blue Fusion doesn't have, as well as the fact that Blue Fusion doesn't last very long at all, whereas that level of power is Beerus' natural level of power. But most people don't like Blue Fusion theory because it comes hand in hand with Broly movie theory, because they actually work quite well in correlation with each other and they're quite consistent with each other, given that Broly competed with a Blue Fusion. I know he got his ass whooped and got finessed all over the place, but he was tanking hits from a Blue Fusion. And a lot of the fandom seems to have a love-hate relationship with this version of Broly. However, there are the Moro comments that Moro is the toughest opponent Goku's ever faced, and Goku did face at least Super Super Saiyan Broly. In the manga, we don't know if he faced legendary Super Saiyan Broly. We know Gogeta did though, so we should retain those memories. But it's hard to exactly know who Goku was talking about in that moment, or whether he was referring to Moro being tough as in difficult to beat. For those who sincerely do believe that Moro is the toughest, in fact, when I first read the Moro arc, I do believe that's what Goku was inferring. Then obviously Blue Fusion's long been surpassed and Beerus was just stronger than Blue Fusion all along. So yeah, Beerus would be vastly stronger than a Blue Fusion unless maybe a modern or current Blue Fusion was to come into the equation. But even if Blue Fusion theory is correct, the goalpost was set for Beerus, but that goalpost is a massive goalpost and miles away from Goku and Vegeta, and with slow growth theory, they were always going to take a long time to get to that sort of level of Blue Fusion. Even from way back in the Future Trunks arc, people really are beginning to downplay Fusion. Base Fusion is as strong as the two fusees put together. Now, I have seen some people bringing up Goku would rather use God than Fusion in the Battle of Gods arc. Well, Base Fusion at that point would only have been as strong as Super Saiyan 3, and Super Saiyan Gogeta, potentially Super Saiyan 3 Gogeta, still wouldn't have been enough to beat Beerus. And also, those statements aren't actually in the manga version of Battle of Gods. But ultimately, even if those statements are to take place in the manga, Goku at that point of saying them didn't actually have any idea of how strong Super Saiyan God would be, so he wouldn't have been able to make a valid comparison. And God Goku didn't do anywhere near as well as he did in the manga than he did in the anime either. But ultimately, it's irrelevant because since then, we've had multiple examples of Base Fusion being at the strongest Fusees level, and then they can stack on their transformations on top. So a Blue Fusion is basically thousands, if not millions of times Goku and Vegeta at their strongest. So the likes of Goku and Vegeta only have a few avenues to actually close that gap on Beerus. That is training, which they do get training growth, obviously. So that is one avenue. Then Zenkais, which are after near-death increases after battle, but they have actually diminished. That was told to us in the Future Trunks arc. It's also mentioned in the Daizenshu and Super Exciting guides. And then they get adaptation during battle, but adaptation is probably closer to them actually attaining their full power that they're already capable of and fighting at that full power better. They can evolve in battle with new transformations, so transformations are another avenue. But do they equate to thousands, if not millions? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. But for those who subscribe to Beerus being way stronger than Blue Fusions, then of course that gap in power is even more enormous, and Goku and Vegeta still only have those 4 avenues to close that gap, so it's only going to take longer, really. So how exactly is Beerus this strong? Well, Beerus is millions of years old. He's been training with Whis for likely millions of years. He hasn't just got this raw power level, he isn't just naturally at this power, he's got ultra skills such as Ultra Ego, where he seemingly is the most proficient at using Ultra Ego. He's still vastly stronger than Ultra Ego Vegeta, who can now use Hakai proficiently. He naturally can use Hakai without having to take damage like Ultra Ego Vegeta, so he doesn't have the damage requirement that Vegeta has to use Hakai and get stronger during battle, because in this state both Beerus and Vegeta have no limits. They can keep getting stronger providing they go deeper into the state of destruction. Their mindset has to keep delving into destruction, and they'll get stronger. They can grow limitlessly unless something stops them. Beerus also has a degree of Ultra Instinct, whilst it isn't quite on the ladder that Goku's now managed to get on, that Whis talked about when training with Ultra Instinct Goku. Goku's at the bottom of the Ultra Instinct ladder, even after being able to use Ultra Instinct at will. Beerus is lower than that, but he does have some sort of semi-UI, which we did see in the God of Destruction exhibition, that allowed him to outmaneuver all the other Gods of Destruction, so he's probably the most proficient with Ultra Instinct out of all of the Gods of Destructions. And even though this was something from the original movie, he was stated to have pressure point attacks. Now, the only other time we've really seen pressure point attacks in the manga, at least recently in DBS, is actually Granola, where Granola was able to target vital points or pressure points in order to get a critical hit essentially when landing. So it really wouldn't surprise me if he has that in the manga as well, which is a very prominent ability and can affect the likes of Ultra Instinct. Vegeta is now using Jiren's efficiency training in order to maximize his usage of power. Whis actually told Vegeta to start doing this way back in Resurrection of F. Whis, of course, is Beerus's teacher. Whis likely would have taught Beerus all of these lessons. Beerus recognised the difference in Vegeta when using this against Goku, so he may have some knowledge of this high level efficiency. I like to call it ultra efficiency. So the little we know about Beerus, he still has a wealth of abilities that are incredible in comparison to the other fighters, and who knows what else he has. After all, when witnessing Gohan fight, Whis did make a statement about Gohan Beast not actually being a godly ability. So that does imply to me that there are other god-like or ultra-like abilities out there other than the ones that the Gods of Destructions and Angels use. Maybe there's an ultra ability that the Gods of Creations use, the Supreme Kais. In fact, I'm calling it now. Shin, the Supreme Kai of Universe 7, will awaken his ultra God of Creation ability in Daima. It will likely be magic based, and after all, we did see the Daikaio Shin be very prominent with magic against Moro. Bookmark it, guys. Of course, that's actually only applicable if Daima does actually become canon to Super, which is debatable in itself. Don't forget, Beerus may have magic himself. He did, after all, seal the Elder Kai as a sword, the Z sword, for hundreds of thousands of years. So as I've said in the video before, I do believe these warriors are closing in on Beerus's raw power, but he has so many things in his arsenal and at his disposal that they aren't truly that near him. He's natural at this level of power where they're actually just to be close to him at their absolute maximum at that power. And we know that going at full power without being comfortable at that power comes with a lot of detrimental points. As far as we know, Beerus only really has two ways to get stronger. That is by going deeper into the mindset of destruction, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have a base level of power that he goes to when he goes into his maximum power. I think he can get stronger from there by getting further into destruction, which he seems very prominent at. However, it's not unlimited power or infinite power, because we know there's other beings that are stronger than him. And of course he can get stronger by training, but how much stronger does he get from training? After all, he himself must be under the impression that Goku and Vegeta in their lifespan of say 80 years can catch him to rival him, as that seems to be the driving narrative of this story, is them two catching up and rivaling Beerus. And of course we know the Gods of Destructions aren't like the Supreme Kai. They're not born gods, they're actually mortals who get anointed to become a god, and to become a God of Destruction candidate you have to be pretty strong anyway. So to become the God of Destruction candidate, Beerus's base level before even this millions of years of training, he would have been not far off Goku and Vegeta's current levels anyway. I think the reason why people get so frustrated is that Beerus is really the antagonist from Battle of Gods, which was a long time ago. The original intention probably wasn't to have Beerus as this strong, but as soon as the Dragon Ball Super manga started, I think it's always been the intention for Beerus to be the one piece of Goku and Vegeta's motivation. And because the story is getting a little tiresome now, I think people just simply want Beerus to be surpassed so we can move on to a new threat and bring the sudden dread of actually Goku and Vegeta losing, then the universe is screwed back. Because with Beerus there, you know that nothing serious is going to happen if he hasn't been surpassed. It's almost a tension killer, and that's something I completely agree with. But I do think in one sense they are catching up to Beerus, and that is in terms of their raw power levels, but they've got a long way to go before they actually reach Beerus's actual proficiency with that power and being able to match all the techniques he has at his disposal. So that's why Beerus is so strong. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. When will Beerus actually be surpassed? Give me your thoughts. Do you think Black Frieza will be the one to do it? I think that would actually be quite an interesting storyline. Drop your thoughts in the comment section, smash a big thumbs up on the video, lend me your energy. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Until next time, Ad Astra.